One of the FTP tools we suggest you use for transferring your projects, your documents, from your computer to the school server, and also you can download files from the school server to your computer. Anyway, one of the FTP programs we suggest is Cyberduck. So you can do a search for Cyberduck and just make sure that in the search results, or you can just type in and go directly to cyberduck.io. Just make sure you're going to this URL and not some third party. You never know what they might suggest or try to get you to download. All right, so we're going to go to cyberduck.io and then just forget about all this stuff they're trying to sell to you for right now. Scroll down and you're going to click down for Mac OS or Windows. Now I've already done this, but you're going to click on this icon, which should open this window. And depending on how wide you have this open, it might look a little different. Okay. But anyway, you'll probably end up here at the top. So scroll down and then depending on the operating system you're using, make your selection. Okay. Either Windows or Mac OS. I'm using Mac OS for my home office, so this is the one I'm going to download. When you click the zip file or the executable, depending on what you're using, let me just make this a little smaller. What will happen is wherever your default download location might be, you will see this zip file. Now, again, that's if you're using Mac OS. It's going to be an executable if you're using Windows. So you're going to open your archive, and what should happen is the app will install and you'll see an icon of a little duck. So I've taken my duck right here and placed my Cyberduck duck inside my applications folder. So you place your app wherever you feel most comfortable. Okay? And that's pretty much all you need to do as far as the download. So let's get some of these files out of our way. And then I'm going to go ahead and double click and open Cyberduck, our file transfer tool. And let's just get some of this stuff out of the way. And if you want this to be your default application, by all means, change. I use several applications, so I don't want to set this to my default. So if I don't want to keep seeing this every time I open, then I would click here. Okay, I'm just going to cancel because I'm not going to use this as my default, but you can. I do not want to import any bookmarks. You're more than welcome to if you're prompted. That's up to you. So I'm going to cancel, and then I'll see what is my Cyberduck interface. Okay. Now I'm going to go up. You can't see it up here because I didn't make the window. I didn't open the video window to see my menus across the top. But basically, on a Mac here, I'm going to go to my preferences. So I'm just opening my preferences. You would do the same on a PC. Now the defaults is there is a check for save workspace and use keychain. All right. So this, what you see here is likely the default. I'm going to remove save workspace and remove use keychain because I don't want my computer to remember all of my credentials and passwords, and I'm not saving the workspace because I'm creating new workspaces each time, okay, for different classes and different demos. All right, but you will likely leave this checked, and if you leave this checked and you allow the keychain to store your data, then you won't have to re-enter your data every time you want to move files around or log into the server. I'm going to leave that up to you. Okay, I'm going to take these two checks away because that's how I'm going to do it. And then that's all I really need to worry about with here. So I'm going to click and just close my preferences. Okay, we're going to go and open a connection, and we are going to change to S, so secure file transfer protocol. This is the protocol we want to use for the MAT server. So we'll select our secure protocol. You're going to type in the server name, mat.miracosta.edu. All right. The port should be 22. Then you will add your credentials, which you use for surf. Okay, so your username is the name that I believe begins with a W, and then your password with whatever you use. So it's your surf credentials. All right, so I'm going to add my username and password. Now, mine's a little different than yours, but you use your surf credentials. So here we go. And now I'll add my password. And then I'm going to connect the unknown fingerprint. This is you're gonna be asked this every time. So if you don't want to see this every time, then put a check on always. Okay, and then go ahead and allow. And we should now be connected to the server. So all you have to do is scroll down and find our class. Or whichever class you're in. For this demo, I'm looking for the MAT 125 prior class. So I can open this folder, and then inside you'll see student work. And then once the semester started, then the IT people will populate the student work folder with all of your student folders. Okay, so that hasn't happened yet, but it will. So here's a folder I placed. So you will see a folder with your name. Okay, so you can literally just take your files and drag them. In this case, I'm just dragging them to the desktop. I'll allow. It's going to ask me for my password because I didn't add everything to the keychain, but that's okay. And then I'll log in, and you'll see that if I move this out of the way, my file has in fact downloaded. If I want to upload a file, then I have this root level folder on my desktop. I can just open this up, take my file, drag it into my folder on the server. I'll go ahead and allow. Guess what? I get to put my password in again. And then log in. And my file will be uploaded. Now, again, as I mentioned, in your preferences, if you place a check on Save Workspace and a check in Use Keychain, which are the defaults, then you won't go through this process of constantly having to add in your password. It's just, I don't mind doing it. I don't like my computer tracking all of my passwords and login credentials. Okay, but I'm going to leave that completely up to you, how you approach that. Okay, all right, so when you're done, all you have to do is disconnect. And then if I go to this third icon right here, my history, I could even get rid of this connection so there's no history of it. And I'll delete that bookmark. So if I were to open another connection, okay, because the application is still open, it's remembering the information. So all you would have to do is connect. Okay. Now, I believe if we actually quit Cyberduck, no, I won't contribute right now, so we'll just do later. Okay, so if I go and I open Cyberduck again, I believe we should have to go through the whole process. Okay, so cancel, cancel, open connection, and you'll see that this is empty. Okay, and again, that is because, just one last time, I removed the default Save Workspace, and I removed the default Use Keychain. If you don't want to have to go through this process every time, leave a check on Save Workspace, leave a check on Use Keychain, and add your credentials to your keychain. That will make your life simple. All right, so that's how to use Cyberduck to connect to the MAT server.